Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of Burning Issues. Today I wanted to talk about consistency, patience, and discipline. That probably could do a burning issue on each, but I think they interplay and they work in this approach. It's one of those things. So even with burning issues, right, I do have a kind of idea as to where I want to take it, and I had a friend of mine say, "Oh, you only get X amount of views, and not almost is it worth doing, but kind of words to that effect." And one is actually really enjoy it as a cathartic exercise to get my kind of thoughts across. Two, it's a creative outlet, and there's other reason I just enjoy doing it. And every so often, I do get people calling me or messaging me saying, "What you said, maybe do this or think about that," and that's really rewarding. But the point of it is that this is now, I think, the 54th or something around there of these that I've done. And it is that dedication, commitment, perseverance, patience, discipline that's required to do anything great and of substance. We're in a world today where everything is instant gratification. I want to start a YouTube channel, have 100,000 followers, subscribers, what have you. Well, even if it did work that way, it wouldn't be rewarding. And that's the thing. Like, you go into the gym, and sometimes it can be months and months before the scale moves, before you feel any difference. But you're putting in day after day that commitment, that consistency, and you're being patient for the result. And that's really today's message. So you start a business, again, you put in loads of work. You've also put in work before you started the business, and patience is just a virtue that unfortunately in today's world I think is being lost. Same in relationships. People want to meet someone, and that very first time they meet, they want that Hollywood spark. I was having this conversation with a friend during the week. It's just not reality. In actual fact, it takes time to figure out if you like the person, if you want to spend time with the person. And so give people a chance, whether personally or professionally or a professional endeavor. Don't just give up the first minute. Either nothing happens or it gets a bit tough, but more importantly in this instance, when nothing happens, because often things are happening, you just can't see them, and it takes a kind of amalgamation, a build up, almost like a snowball effect, where it starts to gather more pace and it gathers more mass as it goes downhill, and all of a sudden it becomes something. Well, you've heard the phrase, there's pretty much no such thing as an overnight success. Even those that almost were overnight, you'll find if you actually listen to the story, which is something that I try and kind of deliver with the Burning Desire podcast, Burning Desire show podcast, I should say, is this story that stems really far back, whether it was the dentist that I interviewed a few weeks ago, or the guy who went from startup to multi-million-pound exit, or whether it was the photographer that I interviewed, or whether it was all these different people, police officers in the United States. When you hear these stories, like a lot of the time, like to achieve these great results and things that we herald as brilliant in today's world, and rightly so, it takes a lot of time and dedication behind the scenes. I was watching a YouTube video because you might have noticed there's been a number of high profile YouTubers quitting the platform as of the last few weeks, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure whether it's because it's now been a decade or so. I can't remember when YouTube was created, but since it's really taken off. And Marcus Brownlee, who's the really kind of high profile technology YouTuber, I guess, talked about something regarding a treadmill, and he talks about patience as well, similar to what I'm doing. And he referred to this concept of find a pace you're comfortable, whether it's walking, jogging, or a light run or whatever, that is sustainable. Because that's the key here. Like, we talk about this before. I think I have talked about this before. If I haven't, then here it is. But you should look at a career, any endeavor that you do, as a decades-long process. If you look at things as a decades with an S long process, and not New Year's resolution or want to get to this point by this day, you can look back at a video where I talked about not setting goals and having a general direction of travel. Well, that's all the same thing. If you have this perception that you want to get somewhere, or that you are putting in work for a decades long payoff, all of a sudden the way you look at your time, you don't rush around, you take your time, you're patient with results, you're patient with people, and you almost stop this whole requiring an immediate reaction or response to something you have done personally or professionally. So I think that's the kind of point today. I know I've weaved a few different concepts in there, but the main one being is stick the course, be patient, and things will pay off in time. The best things come to those who wait. We all know that's true. Things that just click your fingers and happen, you just don't appreciate. You win the lottery overnight, it's amazing, but imagine if you had spent 10, 15 years building a business and then you'd got the same payout. I can almost guarantee you that the person who spent 10, 15 years building the business will be happier, will be more grateful, and will use that money wisely compared to the person who's just overnight got it from literally a potluck. And I think that is the kind of general consensus today. Take your time, be patient, persevere, have some discipline, consistency, and you will get where you want to get to. Thanks, guys.